My name is Tabitha Ewert, and I am from the Association for Reform Political Action, or ARPA Canada. ARPA Canada was one of the parties to the case that took this government to the Ontario courts over the refusal to release abortion statistics. And the court found in that case that censoring of such data was an unconstitutional violation of the free expression. And in essence, the court recognized that there's an ongoing discussion about abortion in this province and that the government cannot interfere with that discussion. And so we are happy to see that this government is bringing FIPA in line with that ruling. But we have major concerns about the rest of this bill and the way that it interferes with the ongoing public discussion. I have two main points that I would like to make regarding this bill. The first is that it's unnecessary. We have criminal code prohibitions that cover all of the extreme behavior, such as assault. And the second point I want to make is with regard to freedom of expression and peaceful protesters who would be covered by this bill. So first of all, it is unnecessary. There is just no evidence that without this bill that women's safety or access to abortion would at all be infringed. In Canada, we have safe access to abortion. And part of the reason for this safe access is the fact that we have criminal code prohibitions that prohibit such things as assault, threatening, intimidation, or harassment. These provisions cover abortion clinics just as they cover the rest of the province. And the one incident that is referred to in support of this bill, the alleged spitting in Ottawa, that is assault. That can be charged under the criminal code. There's no reason for the province to supplement the criminal code in that situation. In fact, it is unconstitutional for them to do so because only the federal government can pass criminal code prohibitions. Inasmuch as this government is attempting to supplement or fill in perceived gaps, this bill is unconstitutional. And the sponsor of this bill, the Attorney General, he should be prosecuting such crimes rather than inventing new laws that also silence peaceful protesters. And for the second point, the freedom of expression, making it illegal to show disapproval of abortion, that is not about protecting patients or physicians. That is about silencing dissent on the issue. It's about silencing pro-life speech. But we have no right to be free from dissent in Canada, no matter what issue is at stake. And I just want to be clear on this point, because there's a lot of rhetoric around this issue, that protecting women's rights or making a step forward for women's rights cannot include fining and imprisoning women who disagree. And that is what this bill does. It says if you hold a certain opinion, you cannot express it. Your constitutional rights are not protected. That is unconstitutional, and it does not aid the ongoing public discussion that is going on in Ontario over the issue. For extreme behavior, for harassment, for assault, that is covered under the criminal code. For peaceful protesters, no need to silence them in this ongoing discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we shall start with the government and Ms. Kiwala.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for coming here and bringing forward your testimony. Abortion is a legal and funded health procedure in Ontario, and women seeking out legal health care services should not feel shame, intimidation, or harassment, or be exposed to counseling from strangers on the side of the street. Women who are in such circumstances of having to avail themselves of abortion services do not do so lightly. It is a challenging time in their lives and always a difficult life circumstance. They have already been through counseling. We have heard of cases where protesters are filming or recording patients as they enter and exit facilities. Under this legislation, protesters would maintain their right to freedom of expression outside of the proposed safe access zones. The purpose of this bill is to protect the safety, security, health, and privacy of patients seeking abortion services and those providing them. Many health providers report being the subject of protests, shaming, and harmful correspondence. I'm wondering if I could just ask you one brief question. Do you oppose anti-harassment protection for health providers?
Thank you for the question. And just to be clear, I'm never in support of harassing anyone. That is why we have criminal code prohibitions against harassment. That would protect physicians, would protect women.
If you could just focus on that one aspect of the question, I'd really appreciate it. We just want to talk about the health providers' private residences.
Yeah, again, harassment, no matter whether it's at a private residence, whether it's at an abortion clinic, whether anywhere, that is illegal under the criminal code. That should be charged under the criminal code. It is not for the province to then say we want to have additional laws covering that.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you. We shall move to the official opposition. Ms. Marto.
Thank you so much for coming in. I don't think we have any questions, but thanks.
Thank you.
We shall move to the third party. Ms. Sattler.
Thank you very much. Was the BC law found to be constitutional or unconstitutional?
So the BC law, back in the early 90s, the BC Court of Appeal, it never did go to the Supreme Court. The BC Court of Appeal did find that it infringed freedom of expression, but they saved it under Section 1 of the Charter. And part of the reason of that is that was a different time. The protests surrounding the original Morgentaler Clinic's opening were much different than what we see now. And even in that decision, the BC Court of Appeal recognized that in 1996, the provision was not as necessary as it was in 1990. And I would strongly argue that in 2017, it's even less necessary. So I don't think the justification that the BC Court of Appeal found 12 years ago would suffice for this law.
That's your opinion. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. It appears there's no further questions. Thank you very much for coming before committee this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.